Today, we're diving into Rockstar's latest GTA 5 Online update to review the 8 vehicles that have been reintroduced for purchase this week. Each of these vehicles stands out not only for their uniqueness, but also for excelling at their intended roles, and many are definitely worth considering here. Inside of this video, I'm going to give you guys a detailed rundown of the performance metrics of these cars, like top speed, braking, handling, acceleration, and more. Plus, we're going to explore some special features and fun facts about these vehicles, if there are any. So, welcome back to another Removed Vehicles Guide in GTA Online. I cover these every single week, so if you're a fan of vehicle videos for this game, then this channel is definitely for you. And with that being said, let's get started. First up, we do have the Ocelot Lynx, which is available for test drive at the LS Car Meet, and it's priced at $1,735,000. Overall, I'd say it's really just an average sports car in GTA Online. It does feature good acceleration and a substantial amount of torque, but it is going to fall short in terms of top speed, so expect to be left trailing in drag races if you participate in those. The handling of the Lynx is just going to be average here as well. It does tend to understeer a bit during sharp turns unless you carefully manage your steering and throttle control, and despite overall just the decent capabilities that the Ocelot Lynx has, it is going to be pretty pricey for what you get, and so don't worry if you don't like this option this week, as there are far superior vehicles in the sports class for those aiming to dominate races. But nonetheless, I do like the look of this car, and I personally thought it was worth it when I did buy it a couple of years ago in game. Now, before we move on to number 2, if you're enjoying this video so far, or if you're just finding it helpful, let me know by dropping a like on it, and if you want to stay up to date with everything GTA Online and Rockstar Games, then please consider hitting that subscribe button with your bell notifications turned on. Moving on to number 2, we have the Dinka Jester, which is available at the LS Car Meet for $240,000. This is a car that really excels in the sports car category because it has a really high top speed, and it's also got great acceleration as well. It is all-wheel drive, and it's inspired by that 2015 Honda and Acura NSX, and it does feature a 20 to 80% front-to-rear torque distribution, so that's going to boost your agility and handling in this game, particularly on slippery surfaces, like, for example, if you're driving around in the rain. And the integration of sort of like an electric motor here in this car does provide smoother gear shifts compared to other comparable sports cars, so that's going to enhance both your racing performance as well as just the ride quality if you're cruising around Los Santos. One downside of this car is it does tend to drift around on dirt roads a little bit, but of course it's a sports car, and if you go off-road with it, it's going to behave like that. You know, the Jester is not an off-roading vehicle by any means, but the crash deformation, I must say, it has high resilience to crashing. You can endure multiple impacts without really compromising the wheels or the performance or the steering or the handling of this car, so that's great. Now moving on to number 3, we do have the Pagi Vodka, and this is available also at the LS Car Meet for $240,000. This is a super underrated powerhouse in my opinion. I think it's going to be perfect for players out there who do like speed, but they still want to be able to control their car. With the Vodka, you also get fast acceleration and very precise handling, so that's going to allow you to maneuver through traffic and basically just get around tight bends without any real effort or trouble on your part. Despite a slight delay in traction after quick starts because you do get some wheel spin, the Vodka is going to be very durable as well, just like that Jester we talked about. You can take hits without compromising performance of the car, and so I would say this car is going to be more ideal for those players out there who value both speed, but they also love that Lamborghini style in this game. You know, it's a fun car, and at $240,000 as a price point, I think every player should buy it this week. Now let's move on to number 4. We do have the Vapid Riata. This is available from Simeon's Premium Deluxe Motorsport for $380,000. This is such a fun truck to drive around in this game up in the mountains. I had a blast recording the gameplay for this car, and the Vapid Riata just excels in off-road categories because it has a crazy long suspension travel, it's got big wheels, and of course, sadly, like you'd expect, it is going to be less adept on the asphalt and the street, where it's going to tend to fishtail, even if you're just going at very moderate and even low speeds, to be honest, but I think it's a really good truck. The high ground clearance may also pose a risk of rolling over when you drive over smaller vehicles or bikes at higher speeds, but at the same time, when you're off-roading, you want that high ground clearance, so you can get this truck, and it's going to be great for off-roading. While it doesn't handle impacts as effectively as other heavier vehicles like the Insurgent or something similar, you can still withstand significant collisions without damaging the bodywork. One problem of the large tires too, I guess, is the fact that they're going to be more susceptible to gunfire just because of their size, so if you buy this truck, you 100% need to purchase bulletproof tires. They're essential for maintaining the performance of the Riata, there's no question about it. Fun fact as well, no matter how much damage this truck takes and no matter how many bullets get fired at the roof lights of the Riata, those will always remain functional, so that's a neat little feature that you should know. Now moving on to number 5, we have the Nagasaki Hot Rod Blazer, also at Simeon's Premium Deluxe Motorsport for $69,000. $1,000. This is just kind of a joke vehicle this week. It's so stupid, but honestly, I love it. It's basically got the same engine as the standard Blazer ATV, but the Hot Rod Blazer is going to outperform the standard Blazer with faster acceleration and a higher top speed, and at the same time, you still get to maintain that excellent off-road capability of the ATV. You still get precise steering, but one thing I would be careful of is the handling is kind of too good. It's very sensitive, and of course, this thing is a little bit lower in stability, so that's going to cause you to lose control and potentially get ejected off your seat if you collide with another vehicle or object too hard, just like the normal ATV, but I feel like it happens more often with the Blazer when I was riding around, even just to record this gameplay. But overall, I think it's funny as well. Rockstar had to give it that $69,000 sale value, of course. Very kinky right there. Now moving on to number 6, we have the Stafford at Simeon's Premium Deluxe Motorsport for $1.295 million. This is going to be a pretty cool cruising vehicle. You know, I'd say it's more something like for a role play. In terms of overall performance, it's just decent. It sits somewhere between average and good. The acceleration is fairly standard, but this car does have a surprisingly high top speed, and it's going to be satisfying for those who want like an older classic car, but something that's still fast in the game. Of course, it's going to be worth mentioning as well, it does have a heavier build, and it is rear-wheel drive, so you're going to find a lot of oversteer or even spinning out, especially if you accelerate when you turn with this car. The durability, unfortunately, is just average. I feel like since it's an older, heavy, you know, super chrome heavy car, it should actually be pretty durable, but it's not as durable as you would expect. And it is based off that 1959 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud as well as the Jaguar Mark 9, so get a little bit of vehicle history right there. Now moving on to number 7, we have the Lampadati Pajali, also a Premium Deluxe Motorsport for $400,000. Despite the initial appearance of this car, honestly, you get such great performance and definitely better performance than you would expect. The acceleration is pretty good within its class, and you can achieve super level top speeds on long stretches of road. The handling is also going to benefit from high traction levels with this car, just because you have a lower center of gravity and maybe not like the most overpowered engine in the game, but it is front wheel drive, so that's going to impose some limitations on turning, so definitely be careful with that. While the Pajali does experience a little bit of understeer as well, it's going to be less severe compared to other sports classics when you maintain speed throughout turns, and also the brakes are remarkably good on this car. It does exhibit a little bit of crash deformation problems, but you know, it's also like a little bit durable as well, so it could be worth picking up for just under $500,000. Then finally, we have the Dinka Double T. This bike has the theoretical highest speed and weight value there is in GTA 5 and GTA 5 Online because it weighs in at only 441 pounds, so you can reach some decently high top speeds. It's available from Premium Deluxe Motorsport for $12,000. With a few acceleration upgrades, you can definitely climb mountains really fast, but that's about it. It's more of like a niche bike. You know, on the street, when I was riding it, it just doesn't feel as fast as the Bati 801. That bike definitely feels faster. That was also available last week, the Bati 801 RR, I should say. And of course, it's basically just as cheap, $12,000 versus a $15,000 baddie. I mean, if you want to drop $12K on it, go for it because there's not much money at all, but I'm just not a fan of this bike. The one redeeming quality of it is that I find the handling really, really good. It's super nimble, it's super agile, but you know, maybe it's going to be like too good for some people's good. We'll actually have to see if they buy the bike, and they can let me know in the comments what they think about the handling and the turning radius of it. But with all that said, we've talked about all of the vehicles here today that are removed from the game, or at least removed for purchase from in-game websites. Some of these I think are a must buy. The others are at the very least worth considering buying, depending on the type of player that you are in GTA. I think each one brings its own unique performance, quirks, and features, and we get a nice diverse collection of vehicles that have been reintroduced into the game for a limited time with this week's update. Of course, there's no guarantee on when or if these vehicles will return to in-game vendors, so even if you're slightly tempted by one of these rides, it's absolutely worth snapping up now because chances are it might be a while before they're available again. We've seen that plenty with other vehicles in the game. But with all that said, we're going to wrap things up. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video here today, and if you did, hopefully I earned your like on it. And of course, if you are new to my channel and you want to stay up to date with all the best GTA Online and Rockstar Games content, then please consider hitting that subscribe button so you don't miss out on a single thing we post here on the channel. Be sure to check me out over on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram. I live stream GTA Online and Red Dead Online several times a week. Hopefully you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you guys in the next GTA Online video. Adios, amigos.